What's up, Alpha? Welcome to another episode of Don't PMO. Don't piss me off. And this week we got a little nice selection of things. And the first thing, as y'all can see, we're gonna start off with extremely. Don't piss me off. She got banned. Now she's unbanned, but she's continually has done this many times, driving while streaming and reading chat. First off, she acknowledges that she's not probably the best driver, so not being the best driver and watching chat is a dangerous thing. Now, this is common sense. This didn't piss me off because I feel like streamers often lack common sense in a lot of areas. However, there are people making excuses for her. There's people blaming her even for making it harder for driving content of smaller streamers. Yes, that is an actual thing. Other streamers blaming her for ruining that they can't stream and drive because they're reading the chat. Listen, if you want to just drive and you don't read the chat, I have no problem. It's kind of weird, and maybe you have to go on a own tirade. Maybe have someone to read the chat to you while you're driving. There's many situations you can fix it. You usually have cameramen. You can't have someone just sit beside you and tell you some interesting things that chat is saying. You can't have someone do that. You can have a whole cameraman, but you can't do that. And for a smaller streamer, you can't find a friend to sit there and do it for you if you want that. Your eyes should always be on the road. And it's not me just attacking her. I'm more attacking the people who defend it. The people who blame her for ruining this meta. Is something wrong with y'all? Keep your eyes on the road. Pay attention. The best job you can to protect everyone. Look out for other drivers. That should be the first thing. That's the first thing you are taught. Because if everybody looked out for everybody, there'll be a lot less accidents. Not saying there would not be any many things that can happen on the road that's dangerous, but don't let your need for attention or your want to stream or your need to do everything in public for the want of attention or love of others lead you down a path to end someone's life, because someone might do it. You might have an accident and that will be done. Twitch has every right to ban anyone who does this, and everyone. There's no excuse for it. You shouldn't do it. So if you're defending this or complaining that you can't do it no more, shut up. Don't piss me off. You see what I'm saying? They're already setting me off today. They're already setting me off. I don't know what else to do. But I got a threefold one in this one. Now we're talking about Sony. Sony is now removing physical copies. We already talked about Xbox in their situation in which they are finna let go of a lot of people because overall, if they are actually spinning off Xbox in like 5 years or so, Xbox can't afford to keep all of them. The only reason they can afford any of this is because Microsoft's money, and they can afford all these people with their fake stock money that have dissed every time because somehow there's more money in stock than people have, so it don't make sense that you're going to be worth this much because certain private equity groups run it. But we're going to get into that a little more later too. But yeah, Sony is now deleting physical discs. You own nothing and you will like it. Nowadays, it's harder to get a home because most people just rent because it's cheaper to rent. I was speaking to my mom the other day, right? And she literally told me that I spent it in a year and a half on rent, what she spent to buy a house every day. So you do realize the wages haven't gone up that much to make that point. A bedroom, a nice apartment, by the way, very nice establishment I have, but that costs more in a year and a half than her house. I could own a home. I could have paid off a home right now back in the savings. That's crazy. Now they want you to rent. What I'm going with it, they want you to rent. Essentially what I'm going with it. And PlayStation now wants you to rent the game. You'll rent it forever until they get tired of you renting it and they don't want to do it because they took away 500 movies that somehow them and Sony don't have a licensing agreement, so you can't watch your movies that you purchased on Sony's app. Is there a way that you can get like a refund for it? A full price because I paid money for something that you took away from me? That's a part of the licensing agreement. They are destroying physical, so now you don't own it. I know Xbox is saying they're going to do disc to physical and somehow it's going to be backward compatibility, which I think would be dope. If you own the disc, you can forever play it. Hopefully they figure something out with that on Xbox end. On PC, if you have GOG and stuff like that, you can just download the file and own it. And maybe there's workarounds. You can also do that with Steam in ways, but Steam don't really let you do it. But I don't know. So ask a tech expert about that. But people are pissed. And this article right here y'all reading about is GTA is saying, don't put us with that. You got bad juju right now. Even though we did tell everyone we're going to spend so much money to make sure you can't afford this game, and we're not gonna have physical copies, but hey, Sony, you made it hot because you said everybody's not gonna have physical copies. And then maybe, by the way, I don't even know if this story is real. I just want to get into this subject of this. I just use this story to get into it. But the gaming world is on fire. Because apparently also, which I'm just keeping this up because Bungie's having a rework, Sony is having a lot of rework with their gaming industry. The boom of gaming is over. And I don't know what direction it's going in. I said in my Xbox video, but I'm going to give you a smaller version of what I said, just so you don't have to watch it if you don't want to. But I would recommend it watch. I broke this down a lot further. But rich people want to be richer, and it's ruining the world. And we're going to go into that more in a minute, so stay with me. We have a situation in which they are paying $200 million to last 7 years to make a game that in some cases, y'all know what game I'm talking about. You can put it in the comments if you can guess. That lasts 5 hours. They spent $100 million on it. Whereas you see a game like Expedition 33 have way less people making it, took way less longer, and was an amazing game in general. Why? Because let's be honest. I know we want to all defend it because I don't want people to lose their jobs and this economy is tough. But I'm going to give you a business perspective real fast. If they can make that game at that cheap price, they can use our Game Pass and push the game and market it using our Game Pass to launch a successful game that became Game of the Year at a way less cost. Why are we paying people hundreds of millions of dollars for games that flop and take years to make? Like, we're paying you $300 million for a game that makes $60 million, maybe, and it took you 7 years to make. I just want you to think from a business perspective, because I'm going to go against businesses in a minute when I talk about my next subject, which is going to lead into this too. But think about that for a second. Why would you, if Expedition 33, if I could show these smaller groups of companies can make Persona 6, which they're not really that small, or can make Expedition 33, or can make Crimson Desert, or can make these other games at less money, at less cost, and better than the games we're making, why do we keep them around? That's just a business question. Not right or wrong. I want to know if you was the owner and you're potentially getting spent off and you don't have Microsoft's FU money anymore, and we might have to make deals because we might get spent off. So we got to figure it out. Which, all speculation. They told us a long time ago that they were going to be fired, and it's still been weeks, and it's been like 2 weeks, and nobody's been fired yet. But they saying July 6th is the now one, so we're going to look for that. Prayers out to anybody who might be hampered by this. Like I said, don't want nobody losing their jobs and stuff. But at the same time, have you become complacent? The strategy was bad from the beginning. Shilling out lots of money to people who just make whatever, and it's not passion projects. It's not people that's like dedicated to games. When you heard about people making Fallouts and all that, they were dedicated. That's why people worried about Elder Scrolls 6. We don't know. Bethesda has been eating good, and Microsoft been paying them forever. How much we been paying you? You announced this game in 2018. Almost a decade. We paid you for this game. Well, Microsoft owns it, so technically, and it's just going to themselves because they own Bethesda in a way. But do we need you? Said we get smaller groups making. It's the game about they playing music. That was successful. And that was made by them, and it was a cheap game, and they didn't even announce it. They didn't even market the game. They said, hey, we got this game. The game when they play the guitar and they fight with the guitar, that was a cheaply made game. Not that, I won't say cheaply made in that way, but it was not that expensive, and they did well on it. So now I'm looking, if I'm Microsoft, why would I not? Let me know your thoughts. And the last thing that don't piss me off is the Jaylen Brown situation. I've been saying this for years. NFL GMs are smart. They're intelligent people. They know what they're doing. They are football people. Most time you hear John Lynch, you hear about the names. You know the people. They're usually football family. They're from some football family, whether it's the Madden family or some epic family, or you got vice president is Tom Brady or John Lynch, or they always got people around them that know the sport. Basketball, unfortunately, it's people who never touched the basketball. I don't even know if they watch basketball, to be honest. And you have them using the strategy of telling the reporters this asinine thing that tells me that they should be fired. There's no way a GM could tell you some of these things I've been hearing. I'll give you a quick example before we get on this. Daryl Morey got fired from the 76ers doing all this analytical stupid shit. And in 3 weeks, the new president has created a team that people say can win championships. We have people that had no business starting. They're not going to play for teams like the Lakers this year. Quentin Grimes might not play for the Lakers. No diss to Quentin Grimes, but he was the starter. He might not even play for the Lakers that much. I hope he do. I hope he improve. I hope he get better and all that because I'm not rooting against him. But he might not play. He was a main contributor for us. And now we have a team full of stars. We gave away a Jared McCain, who played well in the playoffs. We gave away a Champagny, who played well in the playoffs. Daryl Morey, you suck. Now we have a chance to actually go for a championship. We have Jaylen Brown now. Look at the upgrade. But you have GMs telling me that he's the 7th best player on the team. They said Dez White was a bigger contributor than Jaylen Brown on the Celtics. I love Dez White, but did you watch him in the playoffs? There is no way you can say that. This man averaged 33, 9, and 6 in a game. And Dez White, no hate to him, he's a great player, deserves the starter money, deserves the money. Had like the whole series averaged like 6 points. That's asinine to me for you to even consider. There's somebody said he's the 7th best player on a championship team. He's literally the 2nd best player or first. He won Finals MVP. There's a person out there telling people that he's not top 50 in the league. The man was 6th in MVP. How asinine these GMs are. They're so analytical. They know nothing about basketball. How well do we shoot the three? How well do we do it? He don't tell you about passing, chemistry, nothing else. They don't even go on defense. They don't tell you how to steal. They do win shares and crap like that. By the way, I love win shares. I don't even think analytics should be out of basketball, but it should be a tool used, not the end all be all. And for someone to sit there and use it as the end all be all, even though I don't even know if that number is correct, use it to say he's not great, or to diminish him, or say he's not top 50 when you was asking for so much for him. When in real life, you just didn't want to pay him. Is that not right? Now, don't a private equity firm really run the Celtics? I know they got the guy in charge, but not the lowlight, by the way. He breaks it down. I'm not going to break it down that much because this is not that type of show. But there's a private equity firm, and a lot of teams I noticed, specifically in basketball, have these PEFs. Private equity firm. Get their money no matter what, therefore leading them to not spend as much money. And this second apron rule they made is stupid. It's literally people funding things to make sure they get their money back and not fully investing in a team because they don't really love basketball. Basketball filled with people that don't love basketball. That's why you get perhaps a second apron rule that hurts a team like San Antonio or OKC who builds their team the right way. Because I'm trying to prevent people from making the Golden State of 2017. Sure. If LeBron go for a vet minimum, you still didn't do it. Instead, you're just hurting teams from building dynasties, which people really want to see, by the way. The whole thing of this finals is this the start of Wemby's dynasty? Was this the start of OKC's dynasty last year or going to the Western Conference Finals? We got that beef of potential dynasties between OKC and San Antonio. But now teams have to be punished, so these two teams have to continuously draft well and then let people go to build. And to the point that in the future, it's going to end up screwing the players, and the players ain't going to be happy, and it's just going to end up being bad basketball because in the sake of parity, which there has been parity, but also it takes a lot of the fun out of the game in a lot of ways. Fortunately, we still haven't felt the effects because it's so new. But I'm telling you, in years, we're going to start feeling it, and we're going to feel like this is the worst mistake they ever did. Because it just basically trying to hurt teams from doing certain rules. And then all of a sudden, the private equity firm rules that they have in place are so weird that they don't account for everything, in which these people who buy these teams don't know what they're doing with them. And that's why there's so many bad basketball teams. Football, I feel like every year football has a chance for every team to win. Basketball, I'm gonna be honest, even though it's been a lot of parity, it's been player based. But now I feel like the second Apron gonna kind of ruin that. But these private equity firms only going off analytics. That's probably why basketball has been, until last year, less exciting to me because everything analytical. Don't get me wrong, it's still fun. I enjoyed this year's playoffs. The Knicks, the whole thing, the Spurs come up, the rise. There's a lot of storyline. That's out. That's shout out to the players. That's also shout out to a bunch of Ricky deals that's out. Well, wait till when them Ricky deals stop. I don't think it's gonna be a good thing. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts. Do you think it's gonna be a good thing? I hate the second apron because it hinders teams that do well and do right. I don't mind the draft rules. I think that also influences this, but it leads to teams dissing Jaylen Brown who don't deserve it and trying to deliver a message to a player that y'all don't shut up and dribble this out y'all league. Y'all don't think the player's gonna take too kindly to basketball ain't football. Placement play. Let me know your thoughts. Peace.